I see that.
Is that true?
It's not entirely true. I'd mentioned that I'd done some evacuations for Hero that included journalists. That was one of his real areas of focus. So I took some liberty in my wording to Katie Bolos.
And did you do some work for Bloomberg as well?
Yes.
Also journalists?
Yeah, Bloomberg is a massive media conglomerate.
Would it have been fair to say you were in regular contact with journalists?
Objection leading.
Sustained. How regularly were you in contact with journalists?
Say again?
How often were you, how would you characterize your interaction with journalists?
I mean daily.
But not quite daily?
Not quite daily, but very frequently. I can't tell you how often. I mean, this was something that happened years ago. But again, Bloomberg, that's a media company. They have a lot of journalists that work for them.
All right. And then, sorry.
That's all.
Okay. And then it says, is CNN involved in rescue efforts and would they like to be? Right?
It does.
Okay. Seeing if they want to be a corporate sponsor, right?
That's right.
So can you scroll down? Katie Bo says, love to talk to you a little bit about your operation. Is there a good number? You give her your phone number. You can be available later. Right?
That's right.
And then you followed up. At the end again is if you have requirements, which you may be able to set. Right?
Exactly.
Okay. Let's go now to the next step in that communication. Place Exhibit 120. Which is also an evidence round. Okay, so this is a signal. What is this between you and Katie Bolos?
This is a signal message between myself and Katie Bolos.
And did you see at the top here this clock with the 1 week?
I do.
What does that mean?
It means that Katie Bolos has a self-destruct timer on her dialogue with me, which is why you're seeing my name at the bottom and not CNN.
Oh, can we actually take a look at that? Right. Okay. So let's jump back to the top of the message. So she writes, "Hey Kate, hey Zachary, Katie Bo here. I'm stuck covering some hearings. We can talk later." Right?
That's right.
You say, "Hi Katie. Unfortunately, I'll be tied up. We'll circle back. You have requirements, which I might be able to assist."
That's right. I was trying to be efficient. I was very busy, but I wanted to be available.
Straight to business.
Yep.
And so she writes back, "We're actually working on some reporting relating to ongoing efforts to help get at-risk Afghans out of the country. And your name came up in a couple of conversations we've had recently. So I was hoping to ask you a little bit about your operation."
I see that.
Did you understand her to be telling you that she was doing a story on you?
Objection leading.
Stay.
What did you understand her question to be asking?
I took it at face value, regrettably. She's told me that she's working on my interpretation of this message is some general reporting about these evacuations, the various evacuations in Afghanistan. So she wanted background information for this general topic.
Okay, Corey, can we go, let's just slide up because this message is repeated again on the next page, but not cut off. Okay. So she responds back, excuse me, you respond back, "Yes, I have heard CNN was asking about me, which is why I connected. I thought perhaps you needed assistance rescuing Afghans. I'd rather not be named in any reporting." Did you think you could be clearer?
It's very clear as day.
So, she responds back, "Why don't we chat a little off the record, and I can give you a sense of what we're working on." You see that?
I do.
So she offered a phone call.
She did.
You say, "Sure, if you will agree, I won't be named in an article."
That's right.
Okay, so were you willing to talk to Katie Bolos?
Clearly, if she wanted, some unique perspective on the various options for evacuating out of a war zone or a failed state, I would have been happy to talk to her. But again, I'm a quiet professional, and I didn't want to be in, part of it.
She says, "I can't promise that in advance, unfortunately," right?
She does.
And then tries to get you to get back on the off-the-record comment, right?
She does.
Basically, I can't do that. All right, this next message, Corey, it's cut off and it's reproduced on the next page. Let's. Okay. She says it offers you the opportunity to understand what we're working on. and make sure we have this story straight. And to make your case, to keep your name out of it. Do you see that?
Yes.
What do you understand her to be telling you?
It says just exactly what you read, that they're working on a story. They want to make sure that they get the facts right, and to make your case to keep your name out of it. So, I'm starting to get a little suspicious at this point. I described my background yesterday. I'm pretty good at reading people, even if I'm not in front of them. So this seemed odd.
Sitting here today, do you think she was telling you the truth when she said they give you an opportunity to keep your name out of it?
No, I mean, sitting here today, we've gone through discovery. I've seen what was going on back at CNN before this happened, and in my opinion,
Objection.
So then she says, I'm a straight shooter. Was she a straight shooter, Zach?
no, she was not a straight shooter.
I'll be frank with you about where we are. Was she frank with you about where she was?
Couldn't be less frank.
Why do you say that, Zach?
Again, now that I've had the benefit of discovery,
Objection. And if Your Honor would like a sidebar, I can explain it then.
Yeah, yeah.
you ready?
We're not going to get into what you saw, Mr. Young. We're going to move on. So you say to her, what's the nature of the story beyond Afghan rescue? There are a lot of people involved in these efforts the past few months. What's your interest in me specifically? Right?
That's what it says.
And Miss, can we scroll down, Corey? And Cable Lillis dodges the question. Does Cable Lillis answer the question?
No, she keeps pushing for that phone call.
You found that to be a straight shooter?
No, it seems like there's, to me, it feels like something is being hidden.
So you write back, if, I think you meant to write I'd, right? Is that a typo?
It's a typo.
Okay, I'd rather understand why the interest in me specifically before we speak.
That's right. I mean, I think that's a reasonable inquiry. I'd like to be able to be efficient and give her, the information that would be helpful.
Were you being a straight shooter?
I was.
And then, Corey, this message is reproduced that we've been doing in full. Oh, but actually, I forgot it's black. Can you go up 1 second so we can see what's under the date? We've been doing a series of stories, okay? Let's go down, Corey. We've been doing a series of stories on evacuations and the various different models folks are following to get people out. Do you see that?
I see it.
Did you understand her to be telling you about this just a generic story about different evacuation models?
I mean, that's
leading.
What did you understand her to be telling you about the nature of her story, Zach?
It's in the words on the screen. Various different models. It sounds to me like we're talking about background information, lay of the land.
Okay. And actually, she uses that word, doesn't she?
She does. I don't recall exactly when.
Understand you're working on
it's
them,
right in front of me.
too, and just want to talk about the lay of the land, right?
That's what she says.
Did she just want to talk about the lay of the land?
No, my feelings are she did not just want to talk about the lay of the land.
Was the story CNN published about generic evacuation models?
I don't feel that it was.
Was it about you operating in a black market?
I felt that it was.
So let's scroll down a little bit. Okay, I'd be happy to talk and help you understand what's actually been effective and what is not, but would would still prefer to not be named in any article as a condition to talking with you. I know there are many adore attention, I'm no one, right?
That's right. As I said, quiet professional.
Okay, so were you willing to talk to CNN?
Absolutely. I would have not continued to engage with her if I wasn't willing to.
Were you willing to explain to her the ins and outs of the evacuation business as you've been explaining to the jury?
If she was sincerely, and I had doubt at this point, interested in the general options and lay of the land, of course.
And what did you want? What's what you wanted? Did you want money in return?
I didn't ask for anything in return.
Oh, one thing.
Oh, except to not be named in the story.
So would you have educated Katie Bolillis if she agreed?
I would have been happy to.
Did she agree?
No,
Why not?
because that clearly was not the nature of her story. She was lying.
Objection. Move to strike.
Stein. And jury is instructed not to, or to disregard the last statement Mr. Young made.
So, in the next message, also, FYI, in the past 24 hours, former sponsors have come forward requesting me to sign NDAs referencing CNN. Like me, they prefer discretion. You see that?
I do.
And who asked you to sign NDA?
Bloomberg did. Eduardo Janney did.
Is it common in the intelligence profession to kind of obfuscate on exactly who your clients' requests are?
I'm sorry, can you rephrase that?
Yeah. Why did you say sponsors if it was just Bloomberg?
I mean, it's not just Bloomberg. I'm giving him as an example because he's the one who told me about CNN and then wanted an NDA. Clearly, I didn't move forward with the NDA. Usually those come in the beginning of a business relationship, not at the very end. So the request for the NDA put me off, and I was just emphasizing to Ms. Willis that discretion is part of this business, and it's not just me, it's in general.
And is part of discretion not, revealing which source and who exactly is asked making requests of you?
Of course, we talked about the need to know concept yesterday, and source protection, the same applies across the board.
So you say sponsors to keep it vague.
Correct.
Okay, I'm also aware of others who view our success as competition to their own models.
I said that.
Okay. And then, Corey, can we go to the next page? It's hard to imagine anyone competing in this environment, but some of these non-profits, you put in quotes, organized by total clowns who would otherwise be unemployed, have raised millions of donations to charter insanely expensive aircraft from their friends, and most don't even work out. You see that?
I do.
Did you touch on this concept yesterday?
I did. I talked about how, when you have a nonprofit raising millions of dollars for evacuations, and there's an aircraft that has a capacity of 150 people, and you have 30,000 names wanting to get on that aircraft, good luck. But you might have better chances playing the lottery, which is why I was focusing on corporations that wanted specific people. But I also mentioned that a lot of these efforts that I was aware of were totally ineffective. They spent the money on aircraft and couldn't even land.
And was you say insanely expensive aircraft from their friends, and most don't work out. That part, I want you to focus on that part. Were there operations that were just funneling donation money to charter companies?
You see, I keep putting nonprofit in quotes because nothing is free. Aircraft aren't free. And the UAE is a common place to set up these aircraft operations, and the people that actually do the charter and have the aircraft, they are not nonprofits. Nonprofits are using the donations to pay people a lot of money for this aircraft.
And then did they get them out?
I'm aware of several successes, and I'm aware of many more failures.
So did the people, do you know if the charter companies kept the millions of dollars?
Of course, that's the way it works. When you charter an aircraft and they make plans with you instead of someone else, it's a sunk cost. You don't get a refund.
Was CNN's story about people ripping off charities?
No, it wasn't.
Let's go to the next message. Katie Willow says, that's part of what I hope to talk about, the price model. Our understanding is you're asking for $75,000 for a vehicle to Pakistan and around $15,000 for a single person to the UAE. That seems exorbitant for folks who clearly don't have that kind of money. See that?
I see that.
Were you listening to the judge reading the instructions in the beginning of the case?
Yes,
Remember what he said about the word exorbitant?
I do.
What did he say?
I think he said it's opinion.
Is Katie Willis injecting her opinions into your conversation?
She is, and she's, I understand she's a layperson, and that seems high to a journalist sitting in Washington, D.C.
Did she approve of your work?
It doesn't read to me that way, no.
And then let's go to the next message. Pricing, you know what, this is cut off, so let's go to the next one. I think it's reproduced in full in the next. There we go. Pricing always depends on local resource availability, and apologies, at a given time in a highly unstable environment. No Afghan is expected to pay for evac costs. None would ever be able. What did you mean by that, Zach?
I meant exactly what I said. It's not for Afghans. Even if they had the money, it couldn't have been for Afghans. And it's an unstable environment, which it seems like that doesn't need to be explained if you know anything about Afghanistan. But I took the time to try to, educate her a little. It's an unstable environment and it's highly volatile.
Corey, can you take the highlight off the first part of the sentence? Let's just leave no Afghan is expected to pay for evac costs. None would ever be able. Highlighted for a minute. Zach, could you have been clear about who you were working with?
I don't think so.
In fact, you go on. Rather, we've focused on aligning corporate sponsors who have the resources to support with those Afghans most in need to kill this variety. Right?
Correct, and this goes back to what I just said. You have an aircraft that can take 150 people, but you have 30,000 on it that are all saying, I'm about to be killed, without being able to vet that.
Zach, I want you to focus on the words on the page here. Could you have been clearer to CNN about who you were working with?
No,
Could you have been clear to CNN about who you expected to pay?
no,
Could you have been clear to CNN about whether or not Afghans could afford to pay for evacuations?
no, they couldn't. And I told her.
Did she listen?
No.
Let's go to the next message, please. When we can ensure delivery for less, we do, but it always depends on the local environment, which is dynamic and incredibly challenging. Is that a true statement, Zach?
It's a true statement.
So I think this is cut off. Let's go to the next message. So I'm looking at some text exchanges with a potential evac case. Well, you ask if he has a sponsor to cover the $15,000 cost. When he didn't, it looks like... Pause there for a second, Zach. I think we looked at that one, right?
We did.
That's the one where you blocked the guy?
Correct.
Okay. So did you believe at this moment that CNN was aware of exactly what had happened?
It sounds like she is.
Okay. You did not engage?
No, I didn't.
Then she says that's not exactly lining up sponsors, right?
Correct.
Not quite what you said. You said aligning corporate sponsors, right?
I said aligning. I mean, aligning me means I'm trying to find corporations that want to do evacuations. Lining them up.
Was Katie Willis injecting her opinions here again?
She is.
Can you point to some cases where you successfully connected a sponsor and an evac case? Some other folks engaged in this kind of work we spoke to have characterized your prices as inflated. Do you know who she's referring to?
I do.
Who?
I mean, she's talking about people like the activist and maybe others.
So I want to understand if this is a for-profit model if we're not understanding, right?
That's right.
Looks like this message, you have to click read more. So do you remember what was under it?
I don't.
All right, we'll leave it with the recent oh, this is cut off. Let's go down. We'll leave it with the recent sponsors to whom you have already reached out to decide if they would like to provide comment. I hope they do, but I will honor their wishes with or without NDA. Right?
I see that.
You told Katie Willis to contact who?
Bloomberg told me about this, so I'm telling her to go back to Bloomberg and ask them if they would like to have a call with Katie Willis. And I would maintain professionalism with or without the NDA. It wouldn't be appropriate.
We're not in any rush.
That's what she says.
Did you think CNN was going to give you 2 hours?
She says she's not in a rush, so that's what I took it as. Not, you have 2 hours.
Did you think there was any urgent story that was coming out about you on November 3rd?
I would have had no way to know that.
She says, getting it right is why I'm talking to you.
That's what she said.
She was a straight shooter.
That's what she said.
Was she?
No.
Let me rephrase this question. Can you explain why it costs $75,000 for a single dealer to get into Pakistan or $15,000 to UAE? How does the math work? She's back up her questions about costs.
She is.
You respond back? No, I can't, because I'm not on the ground and don't understand the challenges. When I find options that works, try to find candidates. Scroll down. And you sent a bunch of screenshots to her.
I did.
You say, I do quite well. Can we magnify this screenshot? So, do you know what we're looking at?
I do.
What is this?
It's a bit blurry, but it's a screenshot between me and someone named Ken McCoy.
And what is this on the top, this picture here? It says Ahmed Zubair Nouri. What is that?
That's an Afghan name, and it looks like it is a general contracting identification badge. So I assumed he was probably at some point working for a defense contractor. It's in English, and he's Afghan.
So you say, anything you can do for this guy.
That's right.
Why are you reaching out to McCoy?
Well, because this person was already in Pakistan, and he was already part of the government process called the SIV, the Special Interest Visa. It's a long process, but it tells me that this is a person who's already in the official process. He's already met the standards for potential resettlement to the U.S., which isn't something that I was involved in. That's a government function. I'm not a government, so I referred him to Ken McCoy, who I understand is a former intelligence officer for the Department of Defense and was very much connected to the official State Department side of this.
Were you trying to help Ahmed Zubair Nouri?
I was.
What does Mr. McCoy say? If he's in Peshawar, there is a U.S. consulate nearby. He should go to Post 1, USMC, and ask to speak with Consular Affairs if he has an NVCIV number, and so on, right? I know that we need to spend time on that. But Mr. McCoy provided feedback for Mr. Nouri?
Good feedback.
And did you put them in touch? Did CNN report on your efforts to try to help some Afghans?
They had it, clearly.
Did they report on it?
No.
They were tough but fair?
If they say so.
One second, Mr. Young. Can we bring, I think, exhibit 115 up where I think it's been.
115 admitted. Check. It's 115.
Hold on until the judge confirms.
Okay. Yeah. I was just concerned because you said, I think it's admitted.
We rely on a lot of this. I'm up here talking, Judge, but there's a lot of people behind me,
I just want to make sure.
Can we zoom in on this conversation? All right. Oh, okay. I might be able to do that. Okay, there's one I can't, you know what, I think it's backwards, this. So go to I think they come in backwards in reverse chronological order. Yeah, let's go in there. Okay, Zach, first of all, do you recognize these messages?
No, I don't.
Okay. Well, and that's the case, we'll take them down. All right. Let's go back to the Katie Bellil's conversation. We're looking at this exhibit 120. Thank you. And is that the end of it, or does it keep going? Whether they have a sponsor behind them or not, I'm sure whoever brought me to your attention knows that and has their own motivation for promoting slander. To warn Katie Bellis that she's being misled?
Yeah, and like I said, I like to think I have fairly good instincts, and clearly there's something else going on.
Please make sure you have your facts aligned before taking a few text messages and running with it.
That was good advice.
Did she follow your good advice?
No, she didn't.
Okay, this ends, but we have more of that conversation and less of that conversation from CNN. Let's go at exhibit 136, please. That is in evidence, Judge. And this is produced by CNN. See at the bottom left, CNN 00053.
That's right, yes.
All right. So, odd. These aren't screenshots like yours. This is a photo of a phone, right?
A phone with it looks like a broken screen.
Yeah, or broken screen protector.
Or that.
Yeah. Oh, can you zoom out for a second, Corey? Now, this is a lot of the conversation. And so this is produced by CNN, and this is a lot of the conversation. It's missing some at the top, right?
It is.
And she has your name saved as Zach, right?
She does.
And then it says, okay, I'd be happy to help you understand what's actually been effective. We've been through this, right?
Yep, same stuff.
Scroll down, please, Corey, to the next page. You're happy to talk. We've seen this. Former sponsors have come forward. We've seen this. Keep going. It's hard to imagine anyone competing. We've seen this. And now wait, hold on, Corey. Go back up a second. We had more of the conversation, right?
We did.
Yeah. She doesn't have it, right?
No, because she had the self-destruct.
Well, I mean, I don't know. She's not.
Maybe that's
Yeah. Let's not speculate.
Okay.
But there's missing, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to the bottom page. This one we haven't seen before, and there's a message above it that, you recall what you said in that message above?
No.
CNN didn't produce it to you?
No, they didn't.